I combined the best Fortnite Pro's controller settings all into one video, and believe me, they are literally aimbot. So if you want to have insane aim, never miss a shot, while also having insane smooth mechanics in editing, this video is for you. After this video, you will never need to watch a Fortnite controller settings video again. Trust me, these settings are insane. I'd recommend watching the whole video, as for each setting I explain why I've chosen each setting, which may help you choose if you want to have it on or off. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the settings. Okay, starting with display, you want to have this on full screen actually. I've got mine on windowed full screen just for the video because it's easier to switch between my recording software, but just have it on full screen, it's going to get you more FPS. VSync, you want to turn this off. I know people say it does reduce screen tearing, but just keep it off because it will reduce your FPS if you have it on. Frame rate limit, put it on whatever your monitor's hertz is. I'm on 240 hertz, so mine's on 240. For the rendering mode, you want to put this on performance mode. This is what every single controller pro uses because it gives you the most FPS and the least delay. If you use DX11, you're going to get more FPS stutters. Same with DX12, so performance mode is definitely the one to go for. Brightness, this is honestly preference. I like having mine at 100. It's a nice balance between not too dark and not too bright. User interface contrast, this doesn't really matter, it's just whatever your settings, you know, how bright your settings are going to be. And then colorblind, try to note 5 is really good. This is what all the pros use because it gives you a nice bright colorful display while making players and the storm easy to see. You can ignore user interface parallax, that's just an item shop setting, it doesn't really affect your in-game performance. And then moving on to the 3D resolution setting, you want to keep this at 100% because it's going to allow you to see all the pixels on your screen. View distance, you can actually keep this on epic or far. Contrary to popular belief, having it on low doesn't really affect FPS. However, textures you want to keep this on low, so keep this on low. This is what all the pros are using. They have low textures on, and then meshes also low, so this is going to give you the nice like mobile builds that you're used to seeing all the pros like 𝗧𝗧𝗕𝗦𝗘 using. So that's very nice. Show FPS, you can turn this on or off to your liking, and then you can ignore the last setting. Going into the audio stats, this is already preference, so adjust like how loud your game is, the sound effects, adjust that to your liking. However, one setting I'd like to focus on is the sound quality. You actually want to put this on low because it's going to give you more FPS and increased performance. 3 headphones, you want to keep this off, and then you can kind of ignore all of these settings. Same with voice chat, this is all really preference. Here's my reticle and damage feedback section. This is pretty important because it's going to allow you, to see what you can see in game, basically what you know. So HUD scale, I like to keep mine relatively low, so 70%, which is what a lot of pros like to use. Reticle, you want to keep this all on. Damage numbers, have it on cumulative, so the Fortnite does all the maths for you, which is nice. And then have hit only, so it doesn't clock up your game with the icon. I've gone through HUD scale. And then this is all, you want to keep this all on. Apart from this one, latency debug stats, just keep that off because that's just extra information on your screen. Net debug stats, you can have this off. This is literally your ping. I'm sure many of you know that. If you want to see your ping, have it on, but if not, turn that off. And then yeah, we can move on to the next stuff. Gyro options. So although this is a controller settings video, you just want to turn gyro aiming off. You're not playing Mario Kart, you don't really need to be doing that. So gyro aiming is off. Moving on to the mouse and keyboard sensitivity, I'm just going to skip through that because this is a controller settings video. If you do want to see my settings for mouse and keyboard, go and check out my previous video where I did make a keyboard and mouse settings video. Now here's the important stuff. So input, controller, auto run, you want to have this on. Build immediately, you definitely want to have this on. So you're going to have literally instant builds. Edit hold time, keep it as low as possible. In fact, you're not going to be playing with edit hold, so it doesn't really matter. But just don't have this on like high for whatever reason, okay? Slide hold time, I see a lot of people messing around with this setting, like a lot of pros, but most of them have it on 0.090, which is what I have it on. 𝗧𝗧𝗕𝗦𝗧 has it on, so I definitely recommend having it like that. Vibration, you definitely want to keep this off. If you have vibrations on your controller mid-game, that's going to be causing input delay on your controller, which you do not want. Moving down to quick weapon, put this on custom only. Show diamond delay 0 seconds, toggle behavior none, instant toggle you want to have that off, okay? Definitely have this off. And then button group, put it on both. Now for your sensitivity, you want to keep this relatively high because building, you don't really need to be like perfecting your crosshair aim. You just want to keep that really high so you can like get all the edits, get all the angles. So keep this on 2 And then edit mode multiply, have this on 2.1. So basically your building and editing is going to be really fast. Just be prepared for that, but it's going to, allow you to react to many situations. And first person mode, you don't really play first person, so keep that on 1%, or 1 time, sorry. Use advanced options, of course, keep that on, which will allow you to use these settings. And then for your look sensitivity, put it on 43% on both. This is what all the pros use, so in that range 40 to 50. So Day, Miro, they all use that, even Ritual, in fact, if you guys know that controller pro. Put all these boost settings on 0%, they are irrelevant. And then instant boost when building, I see some pros turning that on, but honestly I think it's just placebo. You just want to turn this off, I can't lie. Moving on to the ADS sensitivity, you want to have your ADS horizontal speed on 7% and the ADS look vertical speed on 8%. You can keep them the same number, so maybe 7%, 7%, 8%, 8% if you're more used to that. However, once you get used to this 7-8% like combination, it's really going to help you. Keep all of these boost times on 0%, keep that on 1%, and then, okay, here, so look dampening curve, have this on 0 seconds, you don't want any delay. Your look input curve, you want to play linear. Keep your aim assist on 100%, of course. And yeah, for controller dead zone, my left stick is 7% and my right stick is 8%. I find it's the perfect balance, like I've stated before. For controller, you can just ignore this because no one plays with a foot pedal, and we can just move that along. Okay, moving on to the actual controller settings. This is where your mapping is. You want to put your controller binding presets obviously on custom because you want the best settings. None of these like old school, quick builder pro, combat, none of this is good. And then your controller platform, I play on PS4, well actually play on a PS5 controller, but my mapping on Fortnite is a PlayStation 4, and I definitely recommend doing the same if you're in the same situation as me. Or you can put it on generic, which is something I see a lot of other pros doing, but PlayStation 4 works fine. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly scroll through these settings. Feel free to pause it if you need. I might highlight something that I see like worthy of talking about, but this is literally what all the pros use. I basically like found the average setting, so I definitely recommend using these settings to guide you. You could even literally just copy and paste these, but I think they're perfect. So yeah, they're really nice and clean. You can ignore the rocket racing settings while you've gotten to here. Once again, I picked these settings from like the average of all the pro players, so these will definitely give you a shot at going pro. But there we have it, those are the 2025 best Fortnite controller settings. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe, obviously it's free, and yeah, I hope to see you guys going pro this year with these settings. Be sure to share these settings, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.